This video is all about creating a marker challenge type question to ask your students. Now, before we create a question, I'd like to show you what one looks like from the student's point of view. And you can see here that the challenge asks me to watch scene 4 from the movie Headshot and place a marker over the extreme wide shot. And I'm just going to sort of skim around in my timeline. I already, of course, know the answer here. And look at this nice wide shot of the entire city. So we would consider this an extreme wide shot. Now the student has this plus button on top of their playhead, and if I hover my mouse on top of it, you can see it says Add Mark. You can also see that the timeline is giving us a hint. Press the plus button to mark an answer. And I'll just add a marker here. Once I've added a marker, I can submit my answer. And if the student wants to, they can, of course, remove the mark or manually move the mark just by click holding and dragging it. Let's submit our answer. All right, we got it right. Now I'm going to view all the possible answers here. With the answers revealed, you're seeing the full power of the marker challenge type. It's not all about just identifying the right answer. It's also about seeing some of the wrong answers. For example, this is a possibly correct answer, but while this is a wide shot, it's not an extreme wide shot because we can still see the characters in the shot. Keep looking. And if you read here, part of our lesson description just says that an extreme wide shot is so wide that you can't see the characters. And in fact, you can see here that this extreme wide shot is so wide we can't see the characters. So how do we create these ranges, and how is it that we write answers into these answer boxes? Let's create a marker challenge together. Okay, I'm in the lesson builder. I've got a lesson already created, and now it's time for me to add a challenge. I'll just press plus the challenge and say, which character is the main character? And the challenge type here we set to marker. We'll need a description. And we need to give the students a hint. This is not required, it's an option, but most of the time I recommend adding a hint. The maximum score is the maximum score for this challenge, not the entire lesson. That's important to keep in mind. Remember, EditMentor challenges can have more than one correct answer. So this is the total score for the entire challenge. I'm going to give this 10 points. Now, because markers don't cover every single spot in our timeline, we also need to leave a note for the students in case they mark something outside of the answers that we created. So I'm going to add, okay, we are just about ready to start working in the timeline here. In fact, we could already import footage. From the media browser, I'm just going to select a clip that I want to move into my lesson, and I can move it into the lesson. And now I can build my timeline the old-fashioned way with marking it in, marking it out, insert or overwrite edit. But this, of course, is a time-consuming process. Instead, we're probably better off using a template. Now, templates are pre-built timelines and media that EditMentor provides for you to use to create lessons out of. I've created a short template here, and I'm just going to select the dot. And you can see that a timeline already loads up, and we already have the clips that are associated with this template. Now you can create your own templates by pressing Save as Template and just naming this. And press Save. I'm not going to do that just yet. What I want to do now that I have a timeline is add some answers. So I'll select Add Answers, and notice that that same plus button showed up on top of my playhead as it did for the student. Find the range of the answer that I want to create, and I'll just play this sequence for you so you can see. This is our main character, Rachel.
So hard for you. Well, it's a lot of information. Is that 4 things?
No, it's one thing. No, it's one thing. It's a casserole. I put the recipe on my...
I might need to do some trimming, for example, to get this sequence to be a little less repeated. There's some words repeated. But when I have my sequence the way that I want it, I move my mouse over to the beginning of the clip that I want to mark. I click, hold, and drag, and you can see that I've created a range. And when I press the mouse again, now it's time to add an answer. The first answer of any challenge type has to be correct. So I'm going to add a correct answer here, and I'm going to give this the full 10 points because this is the only correct answer in my lesson. You never want to leave an answer that just looks like this. You always want to leave an answer that looks like this. Make sure that you're giving your students a lot of really great information here. That's the power of EditMentor. I'll save my answer, and you can see that the range has turned green, which means that this is the correct answer. If I want to change the answer, I simply double-click on it, and I can make any changes that I want. Now it's time to create an incorrect answer. You may wonder what the point of creating incorrect answers are, since they're not required in EditMentor. The reason is not because we want to rank students as best or worst. It's because students will actually go back and review the incorrect answers to try to get more information. So incorrect answers always have to have 0 score, and we always want to write no because. I'll just save the answer here. Finally, we have a partially correct answer. So maybe, for example, we know that this is the wrong answer, but we can kind of see the back of Rachel's head. So we're going to say that this is partially correct, and a partially correct answer's score can be as much as the highest scored correct answer. In our case, we have one correct answer with a score of 10. So I can have this partially correct answer go all the way up to 10. Of course, we're showing the back of her head, so I'm probably going to give this 5 points. Partially correct answers do not count towards your total available points for the lesson. And that, of course, is because, I forgot to add a reason behind it. Maybe because. As I was saying, it may feel like a correct answer here worth 10 points and a partially correct answer here worth 5 points will total 15 points that the student could get out of 10. How's that possible? It's because the student is only going to leave one marker. The challenge only allows the student to add as many markers as there are correct answers. So the maximum score would be 10 if they marked this clip and 5 if they marked that clip. I'm going to stop and save my question. Should you want to make changes to the challenge, simply hover your mouse over the Edit button, press Edit, add Answers again, and now double-click your answers, and again you can make changes. So at any point you want to change anything about the answers, you simply want to make sure that you've clicked Add Answers. And finally, if you want to remove an answer altogether, you can hover your mouse over the answer and just press Remove It. Yes, I want to remove it. Again, you can only remove it if you've selected that Add Answers button, and the Add Answers button is gone now because I've already pressed it. I'll stop and save, and that is a marker challenge.